Hello everybody, in this video I'll share with you my tier list, what I think are the best minions or golems, all of the allies that can fight alongside you in Minecraft Legends. And like any other tier list, of course, every one of you have a different opinion, that's how it is always. But again, this is mine based on my experience, and of course it's subject to change. Definitely when the game is out we have more information, more testing, so let's jump into it. So the first one is Cobblestone Golem. Now the thing with Cobblestone Golem that he's high damage to structures, and basically it's used in many situations. First, brute forcing attacks with Golem in order to get quickly into the enemy's base, your opponent's base, and destroy the core. And what better to do is going with Cobblestone Golems. They can just, are designed to actually deal high damage to structures, and this is why they are also good in against piglin bases. If you want to destroy and get Prismarine. The other cool thing, you can get them very early, and the thing is that again, because they're very economic to make, you can combine them with Mossy Golem to heal, and then you get a very close to an unstoppable force. Of course, it's going to be less effective if you're going to find yourself against later on against very strong defenses, but the reason players use it is because they really want to defeat the game very early before the other players start building very strong defenses. And some even players going with just one layer of wall, which of course can easily be destroyed. Again, you just need one path with the Cobblestone. You don't care about everything else. You find the one that is less protected and you go in. These are by far the most popular meta right now, alongside Redstone of course, but when it comes to minions, the Cobblestone Golem, alongside, by the way, a combination of others, but the main thing is Cobblestone with Mossy are very deadly. And of course, Mossy by itself is really not something you're gonna attack, it's just healer. But it can heal both you and allies. And this can support any type of other minions. It's very good in any combination that you go, because it makes sure your minions stay alive basically. Now, although I checked and Cobblestone Golem will die after 10 hits, more or less, from Arrow Tower, for example, from the Piglin's base, is not the most strongest one. For example, Warrior takes 15 hits for the same structure. In comparison, the Skeleton takes 7 hits to die, so it's less durable. And Grinstone Golem takes 6 hits, so relatively it's pretty durable. Now, when you bring them in masses, remember, the damage from towers, from Skeleton maybe trying to hit from you to you behind walls, is gonna spread. So when it's going to spread the damage, because you have many golems, you're going to get, each one going to get less damage. And when you get less damage, your damage, if you're an attacker, if you're a defender, will compete against the Mossy actually healing. And because the damage probably won't be that high compared if it was a single enemy, it's very hard to take them down in a group, especially when they're buffed with Mossy Golems. And because the game now is more offensive oriented rather than defensive, especially when there's a redstone launcher, as of the time of actually making this video, I don't know even how it can stop, because the protector tower can't really protect the tip of the tower of the base. Basically, you want to defeat the game very fast, either with a redstone launcher or just brute forcing into the enemy's base. This is why both of them, by the way, are very positioned very high in the list. Now, those skeletons are not good really. I tried them against structures. For example, one skeleton took like 36 hits to just destroy a single arrow tower. But again, that aside, the best thing about them that you can use them in masses and put them even when you position them inside the tower, so they can actually hit enemies when they are coming towards your base. This is good, by the way, because other players will either need to jump inside in order to attack them, and basically you just give them more headache in order to deal with many things at the same time. But you can just start shooting them from far while actually being inside the wall and not being subject to damage by other minions before they breach in, if they breach in. Now, the Skeleton is also amazing. The thing is, the Skeleton is good against range because it can quickly close distance and stun and damage. But even then, in any other enemies, it's very good, because this stun means, well, less damage to you. And also, if you have, for example, Mossy Golem, and if you combine them, this stun allows the Mossy Golem to be even more effective together. So basically, you stun, the Mossy Golem heal more, rather than competing against increasing damage from, not increasing, but continuous damage, and sometimes even increasing damage from other minions. Now, when it comes to creepers, they are devastating. I did one creeper and actually destroyed the structure in the piglin base, but just one exploding. They are very powerful. They also deal AoE damage. I mean, when they explode, they deal damage to lots of enemies around them. Same goes to structures. But the problem with them, they just disappear. I mean, they explode and they are gone. Although you can get very, very good value in defending against, lots of enemies attacking. Again, I'm talking now also mainly PvE, but again, PvP. But again, we also take into consideration PvE as well, but this is kind of more oriented towards the PvP. So basically they are gone, and you're basically wasting resources. Although you can get good value, they are kind of a grenade that you throw, you know, and hopefully get if there are lots of enemies attacking, but you lose them. So it's good to combining them, but on their own, unless you really go with them, like attacking bases, fast breach into the base, or maybe you're doing some combo, like one player going with breaching, the other one will just bring the zombies in to destroy the base. This is possible, but again, it isn't used a lot again because the resources, if you fail, you're basically, you have one shot to this because you destroy this, and then we are left with sometimes none if you just go with creepers, or with just a few others which can easily be eliminated if the other enemies defenders have more, bigger army and actually kind of have more defenses, of course, in terms of structures in order to deal with it. The Fisrt of Oak can be absolutely devastating in destroying structures. The problem is with all the golems, by the way, basically if you don't take masses like you take them from Cobblestone Golem, and basically within 1, 2, or 3, they're subject to all the damage coming in, because the damage will focus on less enemies. Alright, so you want to bring, of course, Mossy Golem. Again, they're not that durable as I thought. I can give you numbers, but they're not that durable. So I really brought some Mossy Golems to support them quite a lot in order to support them to stay alive. Now with 32% to the base for each hit, the Fisrt of Stone is amazing for destroying structures. And it's preferably going with lots of other small minions, so you won't get all the hits. The problem with it that you only need to get it just a bit later in the game, and sometimes again against an aggressive team it's a bit too late. But if you get this, especially versus 4, it can be very, very devastating. Regarding the Fisrt of Oak, well, it's kind of like a sniper. I didn't like that actually when it deals damage to, for example, walls. It did kind of a one column. Sometimes a few, I don't know, sometimes it breaks several of them, but sometimes just hit one. I found it again, if you want to breach, for example, it wasn't really good. And the damage is less in that aspect to structures compared to the Fisrt of Stone. And I still really haven't find out like a good spot for him to really make the best out of him. Well, I'm still looking, but again, overall, in terms of overall damage, when it comes to structures and enemies, and also the impact of the damage, the radius, I prefer the Fisrt of Stone, hands down. The Plague Golem, by the way, are good against piglins, but overall I find it to be much less useful in other type of situation where I try to counter what the meta is, and basically lots of golems. And yeah, I found it less in the PvE, in the campaign. It was very, very good, but in PvP I found it much less. Regarding the warrior, by the way, the warrior felt, well, it's very strong, of course, it is costly, and it can deal very, very good damage to other golems, by the way. So if you see some strategy with golems, you can have a few of them and they can try and eliminate, they will eliminate the golems very fast. Now regarding Fisrt of Brick, this is the one with the shield. Basically it feels like it actually doing the shield the moment I actually don't need it sometimes. It actually stays in place, which is actually good rather than being mobile. So if it, for example, put it in a single place, I can just go there. I can even send it to another place to shield another place right after. But overall, it felt that I can't really control well, and you just can hope for the best that it does it well and at the right time. In terms of damage, well, it doesn't really have damage, but again, it's a utility type of golem, kind of a mobile protector tower that protects against different type of projectiles. In different situations, it can be very good, especially where enemies are having lots of towers and you want to prevent those projectiles coming in. And even you can even use it if you want to quickly go and block a redstone launcher on the ground. You can just go there and just and attack, and you can even maybe, I haven't tested fully, to block redstone launcher's attack. But for around 30 seconds, I think that it's up the shield. Yeah, it's pretty long duration. It's okay. But again, I even find it to be very, very useful compared to other type of combinations of minions that I'm using. Regarding Fisrt of Diorite, well, this is just Well, after it spawns, basically this one deals very low damage to structures. You can one tap little piglin, but other than that, it deals like I think 0.5% to the enemy base. Basically, forget about this particular golem by itself dealing damage. And that's it. Of course, I can speak a lot more about it in terms of information, but again, I need to test it more, to provide you with more accurate feedback of that. This is again PvP oriented. Keep this in mind. Some things I mentioned about PvE, but again, everything here is PvP oriented. Hope you find this one interesting. If you have different opinion, and I'm sure you will, let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you on the next one. Cheers.